Before we start our podcast today, we would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting,
the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay our respects to their elders past and present and emerging. But you reminded me, or you showed me that he actually does a lot more than yell.
I love Yell.
Yeah, colourful, upfront, yeah.
Let's give the listeners, if anyone's out there, let's give the listeners an idea of Yell.
Oh.
Because Yell's like, what? No way. I'm not doing that.
That's right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of aggression there. No! Absolutely not. That's wrong. Now we can start now.
We can start now.
We can start now.
Welcome to the podcast. Here's Janine and I'm with...
Kevin, I'm here too, and it's a sunny day, and I'm really enjoying it because in Melbourne it's been very grey and cold. And it's still winter, but it's sunny and it doesn't feel so cold.
I know, just looking at it, you reminded me just a moment ago when we started to settle ourselves before the podcast that the sun is shining and it's a great day, and just to look outside. I tend to look inside and try to settle myself, but sometimes going inward is around looking outward.
Yeah.
So I like that. Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, so we kind of decided that we would talk about responsibility today.
Yeah, you had that topic. I like it.
Yeah, so what I think about... I listened to another podcast today, and then part of that podcast was about responsibility.
Okay.
And some of it was okay and some of it wasn't. That's usually the way with other people's podcasts. But I really liked the definition, which was that responsibility is definitely not about feeling bad, feeling guilty,
No.
feeling should do something, blaming yourself for something. Responsibility is more about choices. I've decided to do this.
Yeah, if you're thinking about that in terms of I should, it's like you're doing it for somebody else or something else, and it's not just making a choice in the moment, I want to. Do you think?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So what stood out for you around it? If you started to think about yourself, what was helpful?
What's helpful is that for me, it was that it connected with something else that I've been thinking about in terms of our relationship, and for me, in terms of all relationships, including my relationship with myself, which is who has the power in any relationship that I have. And I have this old setting,
Great thought.
The default, sorry?
It was just great thought, starting to think about who has the power.
Yeah.
It's great.
So my default setting had been that whoever else it was, particularly an authority figure. And for me, authority figure doesn't mean like a policeman or the tax man. It'll be anyone. I'll give somebody else the authority, which also means that I probably give them my power as well. It took me so long to understand what that meant and what I was doing.
That's a bit complex.
Yeah, and now I know, like today,
that
I have the power, and I can take the power, and I have the responsibility. I have the choice. So this morning, you couldn't make it.
No, so I rang up Kevin quickly and just went. Actually, I didn't get onto you and ended up sending a text. My dearest friend has just had a baby in hospital, so exciting, and both her and baby are safe, and there's been a safe arrival, which is wonderful. And they just reached out to get a delivery of something to the hospital promptly. So I went, yeah, of course, and that meant we needed to delay this podcast. So I just went, yep, Kevin, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen today. You want to take it from there?
Yeah, so I put the phone down from that conversation and I went off quite happily and did some other things and finished one thing and was thinking about having a coffee or breakfast, and you rang and said, I have only had to deliver something and I'm on my way back, and it was really quick and we've got some time now if you like. And I said yes, but I had all these thoughts going through my head like, well, that feels a bit rushed, maybe I shouldn't do this, what should I do? Oh, I should do it because Janine wants to do it.
Yeah.
And at that point I thought, hang on a second, I have a choice here.
Yeah.
What do I want to do?
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, I can do this. I can take the hour or whatever it is that we've got to do it, and whatever happens, happens. And then we can do some more later on. And so I took that responsibility for my decision, and I took my own power back, or I didn't give it away, rather.
So do you think that you could have said no to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's only a 5-minute drive, so in terms of the distance and what we were doing, it wasn't a big deal, but it's
but in terms of permission, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
very.
And in terms of responsibility.
Yeah, but that's just today's example. I'm doing that a lot. Yeah,
but
I'm gonna be tough doing it with my daughter. Oh, sorry, Chloe. It's really tough. I imagine for most parents it is.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was just going to use an example. One of our wonderful daughters, we have 3.
So you don't know which one it is. It could be any of you. So yeah,
would always say, "I'd take a bullet for a bear," and I was just like, "Okay, love." And it's interesting. I've been thinking about that more recently. Yep, I'd take a bullet for a bear, and that one's an easy decision, but a harder decision is to say no because you wanted to do something else. Yep. Because the bullet for the bear is a no-brainer. I'm going to save somebody something, it's something that matters or something that's deeply important to me. But then when it's got to do with space, or got to do with freedom, or freedom of choice, or just responsibility for myself, can I say no to the other person?
Yeah, I get it. And I was just thinking that if I don't, when I don't, I disappear down the plug hole. It's a bit more than...
Don't do that, Kevin.
Don't disappear down
I've
just sort of, like it could be like today, it could be just like, oh, well, I've just inconvenienced myself for a couple of hours. It's not that. I give away that power. I give away an essential part of myself. And I'm likely to keep doing it because that's what I did in the past.
And how does it affect you? Because, I'm asking you, but I know myself that I have certainly done the same thing and do the same thing on occasions. I hope I catch myself. Yeah. That's my plan. Because I don't want to leave someone else responsible for the choices I make.
I get resentful.
Yeah.
I feel powerless.
Yeah. Blame.
I feel useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And big one, blame you. I get to blame the other person. Which is not great because that means that I never get anything done. I'm caught up in that.
Yeah. And if you think about, because I always talk about the body. If you're doing the blaming thing, and I know that for myself, I get quite worked up. And then you can get stuck and ruminate. And then what happens is then I start to feel angry, tense in my body. Then I'm more short in my responses to people. I don't want to do that to me, and I don't want to do that to other people.
Yeah, and when I take responsibility for the things in my life, that doesn't mean blaming and judging and guilt and all that. It means I just take responsibility for the things that are mine, that I don't take responsibility for the sun shining or not shining, or any of those things which are totally external and outside of my control. But when I take responsibility for the things that are mine, that I am responsible for, then regardless of whether, it's something good or something bad or something indifferent, there's a finality to it, which means that it leaves me free to do other things. It's like, I'm able to finish things and see more clearly and do other things, go on to other things. I don't really know how to explain that.
No,
yeah.
I think you explained it well, and the freedom is the thing. It's interesting, if you haven't known it, it's actually difficult to give yourself permission and just allow yourself to experience the freedom. If I've always been responsible to others, then you can get caught in a I should or a blame game or a resentment game. And I've got to be honest, in the past I did resentment really well.
Yeah.
So that one's a really big one for me in terms of working on that, and I don't want to do that.
No.
So that's really important to me that I don't do that, because what it does is creates a block in the relationship. So I want to, as best I can, make choices around what I want to do. So a gentle but clear no is an important one to me.
Yeah, and it means I can see people differently. I don't give them the power. I don't set them up as an authority figure. Or if I do, I stop it. And therefore, even though that's scary for me, I have my inner child going, oh, I don't know about that. Are we okay there? Is this going to happen? It happened before. And I go, yeah, that happened 30, 40 years ago. No, that's not going to happen. It's certainly not happening. But, dealing with all of that, dealing with, all of the trauma, which can come up if I let it, and I don't, so I try not to, and still going forward, and being able to not set people up in my mind, be able to see them as they are.
I also noticed in your conversation is you having a really kind conversation with yourself and with the different parts of yourself. The inner child's going, am I going to survive this? What's going to happen? Are they not going to like me anymore? Am I going to feel rejected? That kind of thing. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's okay. You can survive this. So there the adult part comes in and goes, it's all right. Yeah, I can see you losing it. It's all right. I'm right here. Yep. So the adult part can jump in as we would hope and want a loving parent to do. So we can do that for ourselves. And I'm still doing that for myself, still catch myself and doing that loving parent voice. Yeah. So I really want to do that.
Yeah. I wandered off then. I started to think about, I don't know, I've read lots of things and heard people talk about lots of things about the various parts of themselves, so like inner child and and having loads and loads and loads of them, and I go, oh yeah, that's great, but I only have 2 at the moment that I'm aware of, and that's enough. And the other one is my inner teenager that I called Yell because that's what he does. That's what he does a lot. But you reminded me, or you showed me that he actually does a lot more than Yell.
I love Yell.
Yeah, colourful, upfront. Yeah.
Let's give the listeners, if anyone's out there, let's give the listeners an idea of Yell.
Oh.
Because Yell's like, what? No way. I'm not doing that.
That's right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, a lot of, I don't know, a lot of aggression there. No, absolutely not. That's wrong. But also, like flamboyant. I'm an introvert. I think I'm an introvert. No, I'm an introvert. But he's that part of me that's flamboyant. And whenever I now think about Yell, I also think about myself as a teenager before I got lost in drugs. And it was like that. It was like dresses, like flamboyantly, and he's just like right up front.
Amazing colours, and I mean today you've got a colourful striped jumper on, your joggers
red.
Well, I was going to say bright orange.
No, with yellow laces.
Laces, yeah. It looks fabulous.
What's my t-shirt? Yeah.
It's a floral.
Yeah. It's my favourite t-shirt. Yeah. So I still dress like a teenager.
So Yell dressed you this morning?
Sorry?
Yell dressed you this morning?
Yeah. Well, Yell often dresses me. I put black jeans on because that grounds me. You told me that.
That's really good.
I hated wearing black because everybody in Melbourne seems to wear black, and we were discussing it one day, and you said, oh, actually black's grounding, and I went, oh, that's new.
That's a theory. And I've found that it works for me in practice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, it works now.
Yeah.
It works for me. It's grounding. So if I say it is, it is. Anyway, yeah. So has become a large presence in my life in the most positive way. But he gives me an insight to my past, not in terms of dwelling in it, but it's easy for me to connect with my inner teenager, and therefore easy to see what happened. It's different from my inner child. Yeah.
What I would say is that we all have those parts of ourselves, and again, just to talk to the listeners about it, it's kind of the part of like, I'm in two minds, or conflicted about this particular thing, and I've got this part that says this and this part that says this. And so it's really around defining each of the parts and finding out, they're there for good reasons. It's just
so you can have as many as you like, really. Yeah,
really? Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's have a break.
Oh, wow, yeah, I think we better.
We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, take two.
Take two.
Talking about the psychotherapist
that
you were listening to.
I was listening to the radio this morning and a psychotherapist
She was
came
horrible.
on. Well, I noticed myself getting angry with her.
Oh.
And it wasn't that I was angry with her. What I was feeling was inadequate myself, because she could articulate so beautifully the process around relationships and emotions. And I think I'm good at that in practice and with people. But talking to people around the theoretical processes, I can really get stuck at times, and I can, feel quite tongue-tied. But it was fascinating. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, what did you find out then?
What I found out is that I could listen to myself, that I could stop, and I didn't have to go there. I didn't have to feel inadequate, and then I could laugh at myself and go, of course.
Okay.
And that didn't have to go any further.
So I'm asking you the questions now.
Yeah.
This is good, isn't it? So, that's about it for responsibility, maybe.
I think maybe it is.
Yeah? What
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
What's
I think there's so much more we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think we'll just do a
I'm just going to tell the listeners a secret that they're not supposed. We're going to stop here because Janine's going off to practice pole dancing.
I am.
So, that's all from us.
Yeah.
Until next time.
We'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.